YouTube squad, what's going on with my people out there? Cheers, you guys. Enjoying a little bit of espresso. Had a good workout. Got a day off. Trying to be productive as I can, but at the same time, energy level isn't what I'm used to it being. The last few days, been pushing myself especially hard in the gym, pushing myself especially hard at work. I've had a lot of energy surging through my body. Been really feeling the benefits of this cultivation practice, the semen retention. I'm coming up on 9 months. It'll be 9 months in about a week, I think. So, I've been feeling the benefits of that. Very, very energized, very efficient, very focused, getting a lot done, having really everything kind of go my way for the most part, and not that I couldn't be greedy and ask for more. I couldn't think, oh, well, it'd be a little better if I was living, in Hawaii or Costa Rica, or I was closer to the beach, or if I had my own property, or I had 7 figures in the bank, or whatever. We can always look for something we don't have and think the grass is greener on the other side. But in my experience in life, oftentimes the grass is not actually greener. You get to the other side and you find out that you had it pretty good where you left off too, and there's these trade-offs in life. So all right, before I ramble on too long, I've got a topic for you guys. I wanted to talk about how semen retention is, like I've said before, it's about getting closer to God. First and foremost, it's not about female attraction. It's not about getting more handsome. It's not about manifestation. It's not about anything other than getting closer to God at core, especially if you actually want this to improve your life. Because if you go into it with the mentality of, okay, this is going to make me more attractive, this is going to make me more mysterious, more handsome, I'm going to get more women, whatever, then you're going into it with a lack mentality, and you are probably going to manifest more lack with that mentality. It's just the way it works. So as soon as you make this a very personal and a very spiritual endeavor, and you put girls on the back burner completely, you put lust, sex, sensual pleasure, you really take that entire aspect of life and you just kind of put it on the shelf. You put it in the closet. It's not like it's gone forever. It's not like you're swearing it off forever, but it's in the closet. You shut the door, and it's like, when the weather warms up and you take your winter clothes, you put them in the closet, you close the door, you forget about them. You don't think about them. You're not in the middle of summer. You're not thinking about your winter clothes in the closet. They're there. They're not going anywhere. They're just not relevant anymore. That's what I'm talking about. That's the point we want to get to with retention. And that's the point when that stuff's not relevant anymore. The paradox is, well, that's when actually all of the manifestation and the female attraction, all that stuff starts to happen. When it's actually not relevant to you anymore. And then the funny thing is you don't care. Women start chasing you, women start noticing you, women start getting really nervous around you. They don't know how to talk, and it's kind of cute to watch, and it's kind of empowering to know that, well, I could pretty much take any girl I want out on a date, even if she's taken. I mean, I get checked out by married women all the time. It's kind of disappointing, actually. Or a girl will be out with her boyfriend and she's checking me out, and I'm like, almost want to walk up to the dude and be like, bro, I hope you realize, your girl's not very loyal, man. But that's a lot of women these days, by the way. That's part of why it's so important for us men to get on this path, you guys, because in this day and age, man, it's not like the 40s and 50s. It's not like our grandparents' generation, where women were looking for a husband, looking for, a long-term relationship with a family. women aren't really thinking like that anymore. Some are, but for the most part, they're not. Women are thinking more like we've always been taught men think, where they're exploring their options and they're curious, and I wonder what this likes, I wonder what this like, and they'll say a lot of things that they don't really mean because they want you to love them, and that makes them feel secure. And at the end of the day, it's more about them than it is about you, and that's just how it is. And that's why as men, we need to be very, very empowered and in our own zone, in our own self-empowered, self-contained zone, right? So main thing I'm getting at here is that we need to be our own best friends on semen retention. So we need to basically become everything for ourselves. So everything that we used to outsource, everything that we used to think we needed from a relationship, or even from a doctor, or a spiritual advisor or something like that, we get from within. We get from God. We are cutting out the middleman in every sense possible, right? This is a total self-development thing. It's about getting closer to God, but God is your source. God's your source. God's your employer. God's your director, your teacher, your shepherd. God's everything, everything. You go on and on. God's your wife. God's your husband. God's your father. God's your mother. God's everything, okay? So we need to be our own best friends, our own best coach, our own best teacher, our own best lover, our own best chef, our own, and I know this is a lot. This is a lot to ask. Like, none of us can do it perfectly, but in being our own best friend and being our own parent and being our own lover, our own spouse, whatever, we're not going to be exceedingly hard on ourselves. We wouldn't do that. Think about how you would treat a child that you love. If the child messes something up, gets the math equation wrong, what are you going to yell? Are you going to scream at the child? Or are you going to gently direct them towards what's correct in a way that they're going to listen and respect you and not feel traumatized? Well, that's how we kind of have to treat ourselves. None of us are going to do it perfect. We have to be easy on ourselves. So there's a saying, we teach what we need to learn. And I find that to be very, very true as a teacher. So the common denominator for me, you guys, I do a lot of different things, right? So professionally in life, I do coaching. So I'm an athlete. I'm a CrossFit coach. I'm a weightlifter, power lifter, strength and conditioning coach. So I coach classes. I teach classes. I do personal training. All of that is in the greater category of teaching. I'm teaching people things. I've also worked at a music school in the past, and my job title was literally teacher. I was a music teacher. I still teach music lessons privately, so I still teach. I teach about semen retention and the benefits and the spiritual elements of this whole thing. Everything I do kind of centers around teaching, and I've been told often in life that I'm a very, very good teacher, that I'm a natural at this. So this is something that I've pursued more and more in life, pursued more opportunities to teach more people because apparently I'm good at it. And I think what makes me good at it is that I don't necessarily have a very rigid agenda when it comes to teaching. I don't have a curriculum or a book where I'm like, okay, class, open to this page and we're going to study this lesson today because that's what I was told to do. I don't operate like that. I'm flowing with things. So I tend to generally teach the things that I'm currently in the process of learning, or that I've just very recently learned and integrated because it's fresh. And that makes me a very good teacher of that subject because it's something that's very relevant to me. It's very personal to me. It didn't come from a book. It came from my direct life experience. That makes me an effective teacher. So a lot of these videos I make for you guys, a lot of the stuff I'm saying, in a sense, I'm talking to myself. I'm teaching myself what I need to learn. So this video is not just for you guys, it's also for me. This is like a reminder to you guys and to myself that as we progress on this path, on this spiritual path, where we are retaining our life force energy and we are abstaining from the ways of the world, we're on this straight and narrow path together. As we progress this path, it's important not to get overzealous, not to get too hard on yourself, to let yourself have days maybe where you're just a little bit off. That's okay. You don't have to always be producing something. So it gets to be hard to chill. I've talked about this before on the Unchained podcast with Seb and Martin. If you guys haven't checked that podcast out, please do. It's really great. So we talked about how it's kind of hard to chill when you're on semen retention. The way you used to just kind of sit around and do nothing. That gets really hard because you have all of this energy and you want to do something with it. And then what can happen is you get really used to always having all of this energy and being able to accomplish so much and feeling so accomplished all the time. And then you get these flat lines and it's frustrating. Like, where'd all that energy go? Well, we just need to be easy on ourselves. Be your best friend in those times. How would you treat your friend? Would you be like, bro, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you on fire today? It's like, well, you were just on fire for a week straight. Maybe it's time to just take a day and be mellow. Or maybe today you don't get a lot produced. That's okay too. So with that, I'm going to get on to a day where I'm not going to be so hard on myself, because I've been very productive lately. And sometimes it's smart just to chill a little bit. One last thing, just an analogy for this, what I'm talking about. You guys probably can relate to this. So if you've had a job and you've been at work every day, maybe several days in a row, it gets to a point where you kind of go on autopilot, right, with the work. Maybe you're really busy at work. You've had several days in a row really busy. In a way, it sucks, right? Because you're like, man, I'd rather be doing other things. This is taking me away from time with my family or time at home or time at the beach or time whatever. So that's frustrating. But at the same time, the work gets easier because you've got that work momentum, that work flow going. And then you might have some days off. Maybe you take a whole week off, you go on vacation, and you get in a flow with not working. You come back to your job, all of a sudden that same work is really hard. It's arduous. And then the same can go in reverse, where you get so accustomed to working really hard that all of a sudden you have a day off and you don't know what to do with yourself. So having these things in balance, you guys, and just being easy on ourselves. If you're in the workflow, embrace it. Use it. Ride that wave. Get that shit done. If it feels like that wave has crashed, it's time for you to chill. Embrace that too. Let yourself chill. More waves will come. That's life. All right. So with that, signing out. Love you guys.